Why did my allergist literally drop her clipboard when she saw what I was reacting to on the test panel? I've been dealing with these random hives for about 6 months, and nothing made sense about when they showed up. My regular doctor tried everything from food elimination diets to changing my laundry detergent, but nothing worked. Finally, she referred me to Dr. Mitchell, who supposedly handled all the weird cases nobody else could figure out. I showed up at the office that Thursday afternoon, ready to get stabbed with 100 different needles if it meant finding out what was wrong with me. Dr. Mitchell had been practicing for 25 years and seemed confident we'd figure it out quickly. The nurse prepared all these different allergen samples while Dr. Mitchell kept saying this would be straightforward once we identified the trigger. The testing started normal enough with all the common stuff on my left arm, and nothing really reacted except for ragweed, which I already knew about. Then she moved to foods on my right arm, and again, nothing showed up. Dr. Mitchell seemed puzzled and tried an expanded panel, but still nothing appeared. That's when she mentioned doing an autologous test, which I'd never heard of before. She explained sometimes people can develop sensitivities to their own biological materials, though it was extremely rare. She took samples of my saliva and tears and had me pluck a few hairs from my head to test against. I remember thinking this seemed absolutely ridiculous because how could anyone be allergic to their own body? But she insisted we should rule everything out. The nurse prepared the samples while I sat there joking about whether someone could be allergic to their own existence. When Dr. Mitchell applied the new test spots on my back, I immediately felt this burning sensation like someone had pressed a hot iron against my skin. She had me lie face down while we waited the full 15 minutes, but I could feel massive welts forming and my whole back started throbbing with this deep pulsing heat. When the timer went off, she took one look at my back and literally dropped her clipboard, which clattered on the floor while she stumbled backward into the counter. She whispered, "This can't be real," before calling the nurse in immediately, and they both stood there with their mouths open, staring at my back in complete silence. Dr. Mitchell told me that the spot where she'd placed my hair sample had produced the most severe reaction she'd seen in her entire career. The welt was the size of a tennis ball and dark purple with these angry red veins spidering out from it like lightning bolts under my skin. She showed me a photo on her phone, and I actually gasped because it looked like something was trying to claw its way out from inside my body. The spots from my saliva and tears showed nothing, but that hair reaction was so extreme, she tested it 2 more times, and both new spots swelled up just as severely within minutes. She brought in her colleague from down the hall, and he took one look and said, "Your body is literally declaring war on itself, which is medically impossible." They tested hair from my eyebrow, and every single piece caused the same violent reaction, while hair from 3 staff members did absolutely nothing. Dr. Mitchell had me cut a fresh hair sample right there with sterilized scissors, and the moment it touched my skin, the reaction was so immediate and severe that she actually grabbed my arm to steady herself. The nurse started taking photos while Dr. Mitchell made frantic phone calls, and I could hear her saying, "I need you to see this because you won't believe me otherwise, and 30 years and I've never seen anything close to this." They drew blood for more tests, and she mentioned consulting with a research hospital because this violated everything she knew about immunology. One specialist on speakerphone suggested maybe it was psychological, but then he saw the photos and went completely quiet. By the time they brought in 2 more doctors from the building, my entire back looked like I'd been attacked by some invisible creature with welts overlapping into this massive raised purple continent across my skin. 4 hours later, I left wearing a surgical cap because even a single strand touching my neck would trigger a reaction within seconds. Dr. Mitchell prescribed an emergency EpiPen and told me she was submitting my case to a medical journal because, in her words, the medical community needs to see that impossible things sometimes happen anyway. She scheduled me for weekly follow-ups and mentioned researchers from 3 different universities had already called back wanting to study my case. Walking out of there, I felt like some kind of medical freak show while other patients in the waiting room stared at my wrapped head and the visible welts creeping up my neck. My roommate thought I was having a mental breakdown when I explained why I had to keep my hair completely covered every second of every day from now on. I've seen 11 different specialists in the past month, and when they test it themselves, they all get the same look on their faces like reality just broke in front of them. Last week, one immunologist literally said, "Your hair follicles are producing something that your immune system recognizes as pure poison, but that something doesn't exist in any medical textbook ever written." I sleep in a surgical cap now and shower with 2 layers of protection and carry tweezers everywhere in case a single strand falls onto my skin because within 10 seconds, that strand will create a welt